Street Smart podcast back here at the Lounge, Upright Digital Studios. Today we're talking with Seth Staples. Seth, man, thanks for joining.
What's up, brother?
So Seth and I, we have a unique relationship. We, a couple nights a week, beat the absolute shit out of each other in jiu-jitsu. And Seth is, despite all appearances, not an actual Viking, but he's close. He's close to it. But Seth has a great story, and I wanted to kind of get him on the podcast. He was reluctant, but I was able to talk him on. So thanks for coming on and agreeing to share your story with us. So, you and I have talked about it a bit, but let's start in the beginning. So where are you from? Where were you born, raised? Let's get started there.
Well, I'm from here. I was born in Houston. Me, my dad, my brother, and my mom, stepmom, we're the only family I have here in Texas. So the rest of my family's in Louisiana. But, yeah, dude, born in Houston, moved to Willis when I was in the second grade. And, it's been interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How so? So we moved from Houston to Willis, and then, where in Houston? Was it like Houston proper, or was it?
It was Spring. I was born. I lived in Spring in a neighborhood called Dove Meadows.
Okay.
Off 2920.
So then move up to Willis, second grade, and that's where you essentially were raised then, from second grade on through high school.
Still live there to this day.
Still live there today. All right.
Yeah.
So a good spot then. You like Willis?
I like it. I'm not very traveled, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like a hometown guy. I've been to like 4 different states. So
Been on an airplane though.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 times.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. It's always been fascinating to me that there are people out there that I have friends out there that have never been on an airplane. And it's not because of they're afraid of it. They just never
Traveled.
have had a reason to be on one, and they don't see any issue with it. And I guess there isn't one. So
I thought it was the coolest thing ever when I flew.
it is the coolest thing ever. It always amazes me when people are griping like the Wi-Fi is not working, and I'm one of those people. But also like, hey, we're in the air in a tube. So that was kind of cool. So growing up in Willis, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So this is kind of weird, man. I've never thought about any of that. I never said I want to be an astronaut or a firefighter or any of that. I never even thought about it.
How come?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. My childhood was weird,
Weird how? Like, so that is interesting because there's not a single person that I know now. I know one person now, you, that when you say, what did you want to be when you grew up, was like, I never even gave much thought. I was just figure I guess I'll grow up and see what happens.
No thought, man. I really didn't even start thinking about, life and getting better until I was like 27 years old, like I told you.
You're like, shit, I've lived this long. I better.
Yeah, I was just kind of
huh?
going through life, man. Smoking copious amounts of marijuana, which I think I wasted. I have nothing against marijuana, but I think I was in a haze for, most of my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't give it any thought growing up, what you want to be. So what was the first job that you had?
First job that I had was boat cleaning.
Clean boats.
For a boat rental company.
Nice.
Yeah, for like $8 an hour.
So you out on Lake Conroe?
Yeah. Yeah, down 105.
Those boats come back pretty trash, the rental boats?
Or
Or people pretty good most of the time?
No, not really. But that was my first experience with like a real job. But it wasn't my first experience with work. One thing, so like I said, with my childhood being weird, so I had, I got a lot of love growing up. I think, one of the best dads ever, dude. The guy gave me so much love. But there's a lot of things that I didn't get. Like I didn't get just simple things like how to shake a man's hand.
Yeah.
Managing money. Really, I got a lot of love, and I got like 3 pieces of advice from my dad, I believe.
What were they?
They were pay your taxes. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. And I heard this my whole life on repeat. And if a woman treats her father or mother bad, then she'll treat you bad. And that might have been the best advice that he gave me.
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so.
But one thing he did was he worked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what he knew, because he grew up on a dairy farm, you know, getting up at like 3 a.m. and milking cows and everything. And so I think he just gave me what he knew, but he worked the living piss out of me every weekend. He started buying rental properties and fixing them up. So, and you know, me and my brother were the laborers. So from Saturday morning at 7 o'clock until Sunday at 6 or 7 p.m., we were just working every weekend. All my friends were out partying and having fun and all that kind of stuff, and I had to be there at 7 o'clock. I could go party too, and I would, but I had to be there at 7 o'clock, you know.
Yeah, you better show up.
Demoing walls or, you know, mowing yards. We would mow 8-10 yards on a weekend. We'd mow 2.5 acres with a push mower.
Man.
So when I did break into the workforce, like my first job was that boat thing, but my first real job was land surveying on pipelines, and I was working 7/12s. So I once I was about 18 years old, and once I grew up, you know, doing those 7/12s, I was so grateful. I hated my dad for the way he worked me, but I was so grateful that he did that to me, because you know, it was just like I was used to it. You know?
So other than the 3 lessons that you said that he gave you, that's really the 4th.
That's
right?
the 4th, yeah.
And that one there is one that
might be the biggest.
It's got to be the biggest, because it taught you the value of working hard and that you could do that.
And that's the only reason that I have anything today, is because I just work hard and consistently.
Right. And
I'm not the smartest or any of that, but I can damn near outwork anybody.
I might try you out on that. 'Cause my dad was the same way. I mean, my dad owned businesses my whole life, and then I watched him work when he would send other people home, you know, hey, go home and be with your family. My dad was there working. And by extension, me and my brother were also there, you know, doing what we could do. And I remember being, 8, 10 years old, going to his shop and being handed a hoe and going around the fence line hoeing weeds and that kind of stuff, and hated every minute of that. But at the same time, as I got older, you know, start realizing, what he did, whether it was intentional or not, was taught me the value behind working hard like that, and that that's really truly in life what it takes. It takes to be successful in anything that you do, regardless of what other attributes you may bring to the table, education, whatever. If you don't have that work ethic, you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
So land survey. How long did you land survey?
I did it from 18 to about 22. So I moved when I was 18. I moved in the middle of my senior year to Louisiana, and I moved in. I was just
what part of Louisiana?
West Monroe.
Okay.
I was kind of troubled, man. I was in trouble. I just, didn't get along with my dad. Anyways, the day I turned 18, my uncle drove from Louisiana to Texas, and my grandpa picked me up, drove me to Louisiana. I enrolled in school down there, and I actually went to an alternative school because I don't remember why I did. I think it was just because it was easier, and it truly was. And then I would work, so I'd go to school until about noon. And then I would work from noon until 5 or 6 o'clock every day.
Doing what?
Land surveying.
Oh, the surveying.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you did that till you're about 22, and then what?
22. This is kind of funny and embarrassing, but I dated this girl in Louisiana. She was like this pretty blonde Southern girl, real like nurturing, like would have been a good wife looking back at it. But I was this 18-year-old. I grew up with. My parents got divorced not once but twice. So like I never really even considered marriage for some reason. And she was like, this down home country girl, she was ready to get married then. She was a couple years older than me, and I was just not in the same realm as her. So we ended up breaking up, and I was crushed, dude. Like I was crushed. Your first breakup, every dude goes through it, you get crushed. Well, I moved back to Texas on a whim.
Back to this area?
Yes, back home with my parents.
Nice.
Yeah, temporarily.
At 22?
Yes, and that was hard.
Outstanding. Yeah, because then you had like 4 years of like doing your own thing, and now
It was wild.
If your dad's anything like mine, you show back up. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're like, this is my house.
Oh, he put my ass right back to work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well.
But it was wild down there in Louisiana, man. My uncle, he made a lot of money. He had a 3-story condo on the river, and the dude he's an recovered crack addict who was just a hard worker who built a big business, and it was a pretty crazy lifestyle down there.
You had me at crack addict.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude. I'm telling you, he's wild. He's one of the wild. He's a wild guy. He'd be good for your podcast, dude. To be honest.
Well, hey, we'll have him on. That'd be interesting. Yeah. I've always said the more crack addicts I can have on the show, the better it's going to be.
Yeah,
for sure. So you move back to Willis. You're back with your parents, and your dad put you right back to work doing what? Same stuff.
Mowing yards, man. We would mow 8-10 yards. Back in the day, my dad was the hardest working man that I ever knew. He'd be like, oh, we're just going to mow 3 or 4 yards. He'd drive by one of his houses, look at it, be like, oh, we'll just knock it out real quick. Yeah. Another hour goes by, right. Me and my brother are just like, God, when's it going to end?
Yeah.
And
is that why you always post to your story you riding a lawnmower?
Yeah, I said I was going to have like a gravel yard when I grew up because I was so tired of mowing yards.
Yeah.
So tired, dude. But now I love mowing the yard, dude.
I love mowing my yard. My wife she's asked me before, why do you keep mowing the yard? We can pay someone to mow this. And I was like, well, number one, my dad would be absolutely in a murderous rage if he saw me paying someone to mow it, do something I could do physically, number one. Number two, I enjoy doing it. It's just one of those things.
It's like meditation.
It's one of those things. It's meditation because you just zone out.
The smell of the fresh cut grass.
Don't like that as much. But what I do like is being able to look back and see the lines and know that it's one of those jobs that you do that you have immediate feedback on.
Mm-hmm.
That, I did that. It's over with. It's good. And plus it's a good workout, honestly.
It's so satisfying. I'll get up at 4 a.m, go outside, and just there's a big light, and I'll just stare at my yard when I'm drinking. It's so satisfying.
Well, that's odd. And, okay, that's fine though. You're big enough to get away with it. So you come back, and your dad put you back to work doing the same stuff. And then, at what point do you break from that and go do something else?
Well, I was kind of just in limbo, like we were talking earlier, when you're like, I was in my early 20s and I just had no direction, never thought about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be.
Still even then, you're just like, tomorrow's a new day. We'll see what happens.
No idea. And I had this mentor. He was actually, wasn't my girlfriend. It was a girl who I was friends with growing up. My buddies dated her, but I didn't. And I ended up hitting it off with her dad. I'm big into fishing. I love fishing and hunting and everything. And me and this guy, we started going fishing together. We just became friends. And then even 5, 6, 7, 10, haven't talked to his daughter in years, but we're still friends. And I was looking for a job, and he's like, I might can get you. He's like, I know a guy. So he had a buddy who had a concrete sawing and drilling company. So it was a construction manual labor job. It was, doing core drilling, running slab saws and stuff like that. And he got me a job as a shop helper. So I was a shop.
We call those shop techs now.
Okay,
Make
shop
feel
tech.
Better about it.
All right, yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah.
So I was a shop tech, dude, and
yeah. Like you were a shop helper.
Shop helper, whatever.
Today they're shop techs.
Okay.
You were a helper.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like I told you, as far as like my dad, like simple things like how to shake a man's hand. Well, there's also things like how to change oil, change brakes, work on cars. Well, I knew nothing about that. I grew up riding BMX, so I knew how to use tools. I was kind of mechanical, but I was a shop helper. And I didn't even know how to change oil. And dude, I worked with this guy. His name was Joe. Man, you know how like men in the workplace we talk shit, right?
Oh yeah, nonstop.
This dude was a master, and
he was the Conor McGregor of the shop.
He was, dude, yeah. And I was this awkward, shy, kid. And, man, he railed me for like a year, and he would just shut me up. He was so good. And like, after like a year or two, I started catching on. I could talk shit back, but he taught me how to change oil, how to, change brakes. One time I was going, like when I first started, I accidentally drained the transmission fluid in the truck instead of the oil.
Yeah, that is different.
And I still catch shit about that. But, yeah.
I was going to say that I bet you didn't catch any shit at all about that.
Oh, dude, I was worried when I noticed it was red, and I was like, I don't think oil's red.
There's something really wrong with this oil. Yeah, because it's not oil. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know when the last time they changed this, but it's red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one time they so it's a service company, so their work, they do night jobs, they do day jobs, they do both at the same time.
Yeah, they never stop.
No, and one time they were short a helper, and they were like, "Hey, we need you to go help someone with this job. You're gonna run a vacuum. He's gonna run the saw, and you're gonna flip some blocks out, remove some blocks. We would cut trench, and then take the trench out for like plumbing and stuff to go in." And we went out there, and I had to flip a bunch of blocks out, and I guess that they saw that I was a workhorse, and that was my last day in the shop.
They said, send Seth. He'll just keep going.
Yeah. I used, and then I became a helper out in the field. I did that for a year or two, and then I just, I had guys train me, and I became proficient at operating that equipment, and I got pretty good at it. And then I became an operator. I got my own truck. And pretty much been doing that until this day.
Yeah. And in the meantime, you decided somewhere in there that it would be a fantastic idea to open a gym. Obviously you're a physically fit guy, and you and I talk about that every once in a while. And it's something that you say it means a lot to you, and you actively work very hard.
It means everything to me.
Right. Is that something you've always had, even when you were a kid? Like physical fitness was always something you were, passionate about, and that that it's something that you worked at even when you were younger?
No, I started about 18, and it started with really just ego. Like I wanted to be muscular, bigger. I was a skinny kid, like skinny as a rail, weak. And then I saw the guys at school working out, and I watched them, progress and get bigger. And it started out with just wanting to look better, ego, I guess, get girls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which, by the way, that works.
Oh yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. And
you know what else works?
What?
It's humor. That was always my thing.
Yeah, that works.
I'll just be doughy and be funny.
That works really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can combine the two of them, you're unstoppable.
Well, and I waited long enough now that dad bods are somewhat sexy, from what I understand.
Bro, you don't even have a dad bod.
Well, now, I appreciate you saying that. But what I have is a body that says, hey, he works out some, but he also might eat an entire pizza if you don't want to. And I will do that. So at what point did you decide that you could maybe make this something that you could do professionally?
That's kind of a funny story too, because like I told you, I never really thought about what I wanted to do. I had no plans of ever. I don't even consider myself an entrepreneur because I'm not where I want to be yet. But I just kind of fell into it. Honestly, I have a partner. His name's Sean. Best friend and partner that anyone could ever have. And we became friends. We started training together. I'm training jiu-jitsu at that time. And I had a short stint of having a jiu-jitsu school for about a couple months.
No kidding.
Yeah, for like a couple months, and that didn't pan out because it was inside of Metroflex gym, and it was just like you couldn't teach in there. It was just too loud and everything. But I guess that could be my first little taste of like trying to do something on my own. And so I met Sean. We became like really good friends. We were training together, working out. When you meet someone, you just know your homies, kind of like you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so he had the idea of starting like personal training people, and then he was going to. He found this guy on Craigslist with a bunch of equipment. And it was like a bunch of bench presses and some weights and stuff. And I went with him to buy it, and or he asked me if I wanted to go to help him load it up. And I just got to thinking, I was like, you know what, man, I'll go halves. I'll go halves on this with you. And because he was 21 and I was 25 at that point. You know, we're both kids essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll go halves with you, man, if you want. He was like, I'm down. You know what I mean? So
right, yeah. Anything to mitigate the cost, he's in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
right.
literally how it happened. So we were like, okay, we're going to open a personal training studio. And so we started looking at, retail spaces.
Right. So your concept there was, we'll move some equipment in, we'll do personal training for individuals or whatever, but no thought about opening a full-on gym.
No, I'll tell you how that happened. So we're looking at retail spaces. We found one that was like, I don't know, 1,200 square feet, and it was kind of expensive. And we were looking around, and then so we found this shopping center. It's called the Tejas Bingo Shopping Center. You probably know where that's at.
Yeah, over in Conroe.
Yeah, and we found this place that was 3,300 square foot. So it was sort of large for what we were looking for. But it was cheaper than like the 1,200. Because
hey, you break my sign and my wife's going to kill you.
My bad.
Yeah.
It was cheaper than the place that was half the size. So
it was a location thing, probably.
It was a location thing, which it's not in a bad area, but it's like close to not the best area. I wouldn't say bad. This ain't Houston. It's Conroe.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's a less desirable area.
Yeah. Exactly.
From a business
for what I pay for what I have now, it would be 3 times as much somewhere else.
Sure.
But we found this spot and it was pretty big, and we were like, "This is big, dude. Like, what do we?" He's like, "You want to just like open a whole gym?"
Oh wow, man!
Yeah, that was it. We were literally like, "Yeah, we got all this space," and another reason is we found another guy off Craigslist, and we got so much equipment. I think we spent like $15,000, which was like our life savings.
Yeah, it was everything you had.
It was everything I had. I literally spent everything that I had. I was living on $50 a week for groceries. I was eating chicken, bananas, rice.
Yeah, and you described to me what you eat in the morning is like all of the eggs that you can find to eat, and all of it. And it's not cheap, especially nowadays.
Well, I got chickens now to help, but yeah,
that does help.
Yeah, but they don't.
Does help.
Yeah, they don't. Cover my whole egg consumption though. But
just for the casual listener, how many eggs a day are you eating?
I eat about 13 whole
That's
eggs
a lot
a day.
of eggs.
Yeah.
You know how you fix that? You get more chickens.
I know. I need to.
So you get to the spot, you say, and you go, hey, let's just open a gym. And so you find some more equipment on Craigslist. You spend every dime you have.
Yeah, and we ended up we got a really good deal, man. We probably got 15 different pieces, like Icarian and Precor, which is like the best top of the line, brands for exercise equipment. And we had 15 or 20 pieces. We had so much stuff. We were looking at it. We were just like, oh my God, dude, we have so much stuff.
Yeah. Thank God we got the bigger spot.
Yeah. And so we were like, we have enough equipment almost for a whole gym, dude. Let's just open a gym. And that's literally how it happened.
And when was this?
I was 25. He was 21. It was March. We opened in March, and it was, it's been 8 years now, I believe. As crazy as that sounds.
What did you so you get this thing open? What did you not expect when you opened it? I mean, obviously you open it, you're like, man, you're not ever opening a business thinking, yeah, this is going to suck. You open it with all kinds of optimism, and there's always something that or multiple things that show up. What is one thing that you think back on it 8 years ago? You open the doors. In that first year, what's the one thing you take away like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming?
One thing that happened when we first started was the software company that we were using. It was like the cheaper one for gyms, and
for like membership and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we if the billing address didn't match with the card address on the card, then none of the payments would go through.
Oh no.
So we didn't even know it, but like probably 40% of our members weren't even getting charged.
Yeah, and they're not going to tell you.
And it's failing, and then they're not telling us, and then we can't get a hold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a mess, dude. But I was super optimistic. I thought in like 2 years, man, that we were gonna have this giant successful gym, and be making all this money. And boy, did I have no idea what I was talking about.
Sure. How many of the people, once you got a hold of them and said, hey, turns out we haven't been able to charge your card in like 8 months, how many of them are like, just cancel membership?
They're like, it's usually, I haven't been there in 4 months, so
yeah, just go ahead and cancel that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, that's the downside of the gyms, right? Like, and I want to get
It's
into
hard.
this, like when we get to, the COVID years and all of that and kind of what that looked like. I want to get to that, but that is always one of the major challenges / concerns of gym ownership. Is that's kind of one of those things that if things get lean in a household, that's people will jet that thing pretty quick. So, so you say, you thought, hey, 2 years into this thing, it's going to be, lights out. We're going to have the biggest gym. What was wrong about that assumption?
I just had no idea what we were doing. I knew nothing about entrepreneurship, nothing about building a business, nothing about running a gym. And we were just kind of winging it,
You were just good at working out.
I was good at working out. That was literally it.
Yeah.
That's literally it. I was good at working out. I had a good physique, and that was it, dude.
So how did you overcome all of that and figure out, man, we need to figure out how to do this. If we're going to have a business, we need to figure that out. What helped you overcome that? Where'd you even start?
Well, it took 5 years to get to that point. There was a lot of time where we were just complacent and we weren't growing, and we were just hoping people that were gonna see our sign and come in. You know what I mean? We had this guy reach out to us. We tried this little marketing thing where we made a video. The guy ran some ads for us. He got us this leads. He's like, here's your leads, but we didn't know what to do with the leads. We're like, I don't want names and numbers.
I want these people to show up.
I want
you
people
do that.
just coming in my gym, which I look back at that and I was stupid. You know what I mean? He really did me a favor. But I just didn't know how to sell.
Yeah, he's giving you qualified
I didn't know how to
leads. You just
sell.
have to convert that.
Right.
Yeah,
and what I've learned is that it's about selling and sales skills. You know what I mean? Talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I was just thought the place would sell itself. Like, here's a gym, you can work out here, but it doesn't work like that. And so, mind you, while this started, I had a baby right when I opened the gym. Okay? 9 months after, 9 or so months after, she was pregnant within a year on the next. She was pregnant 3 months after having the first one.
She got Irish twins.
Yes. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, sounds
I'm
like
completely broke. Okay.
Yeah, got a gym, don't know how to run it. You're still working the job you have now still.
I'm feeding my family on literally $50 a week. We're all just eating chicken and rice and bananas and I think broccoli.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I'd buy the 30-pound bag of rice. We'd buy the cheapest chicken.
How was everyone's mood around the house? Was it pretty tense?
Well, yeah, it was tense because I was gone all the time. So I would go work all day, cutting concrete, get off of work, and then go to the gym at 6 p.m. And most of the time I'm going from work to the gym. I don't even go home in between. And then I would, back then we were not 24 hours. So I would have to physically close the gym down at 10 p.m. every night. So I was leaving the house at like 5 or 6 o'clock and getting home at 10, 11 p.m. at night. So she was asleep. My ex was asleep whenever I left and asleep when I got home. And so were the kids. I would just go kiss them in their beds.
Right.
And it was stressful. It was hard, dude. It's been one of the hardest things. It's taken 100 times more work and effort and time than I imagined. Literally 100.
So when you look back on it, were there times that you thought, man, this is bullshit? Like I'm done with this.
Dude, I closed that place down at 10 p.m. at night, every night for 5 years for free. So there was a lot of wondering, what am I doing?
Yeah. Why am I even doing this?
I'm wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never with my family. It's stressful with me and my girl, and you know what I mean? There was so much of that.
So what got you through that? I mean, obviously it's still in business. So I mean, you didn't just say fuck it?
I don't know, man. I think it's just me and Sean have a lot of grit because we won't stop. We'll never stop. No matter what happens, we're literally never going to stop. And I think if you keep trying hard enough and long enough, no matter what it is, I think you'll succeed if you just don't stop.
What's interesting too is I've seen a lot of friendships dissolve, especially when things are
through business,
shaky, and especially through business.
Mm-hmm.
And you and your partner seem like you're still best friends.
We are. We are. Like I said, I have the best partner that anyone could ever have. He's my best friend. Like, I trust a dude with everything and anything, and he does me. We part of it too, and is, I think, with running a business, and the reason that people have issues is because sometimes if one person's not doing something they should, or dude did something wrong or whatever, and this just goes with men and friends in general. Like, if I'm doing something wrong, or I would expect my friend to correct me on that, call me out on whatever bullshit it is. And a lot of people can't handle that. They can't take it. It hurts their ego or hurts whatever. But that's the thing with me and Sean is, like, we make each other better. If I do something wrong, he'll say it. I'm like, well, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have done that. Whether it's, talking too much about what's going, you know what I mean? And I think that's a big part, because if I got upset every time he corrected me or I corrected him or something like that, then we would definitely not have a gym right now.
A lot of that is also, one, it takes a lot of humility to be able to accept that when you're receiving it. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, it's just the understanding where it's coming from, the heart behind really what's happening there. And it is to make you better, like you said. And I don't think you can say it any better than that. If you're working with, whoever your business partner is, or your wife, or whoever, whatever relationship in your life, if you're in that relationship and you're trying to service that relationship from a place of trying to make that person better, it's going to be a successful relationship.
I expect my friends to call me out on my bullshit. I expect them to. And I do it to a lot of people. Like, I'll give people shit at jiu-jitsu for, like, being fat and stuff. You know what I mean? I'll just say it like it is. I think as men, we're supposed to hold each other accountable. You know what I mean?
I do think that's important.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, like, lost these days, especially with, younger generations and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is, and we don't have enough time to get into that because the producer has Pilates.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's right.
Whatever. Pilates is not even a real thing. So you get through 5 years of just grinding this shit out. And what year is that now?
Shoot. Through 2019?
Yeah, so things are starting to be on the upswing. 2019, you go into 2020.
Well, you hear that, like, so when I started this business, I'm not making any money. We actually paid in $1,000 each a month just to keep the doors open for like 2 years. Okay.
So you're losing $12,000 a year.
Yes. Yeah.
Per
and
person.
Just for the love of the game. Just for the love of the game.
Just because I want a gym. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your question again?
You're going into 5 years of not making money. In 2019, you're starting to see, okay, hey man, we're going to do something with this thing.
Yep. So what I've learned, the biggest lesson I've learned in all this is, instead of trying to figure stuff out on your own, pay somebody who's already done it to teach you how to do it. And that's what we did. We signed up with this company under Alex Ramosi. And they taught us how to run Facebook ads, we essentially opened a gym within our gym. So we started doing group training and doing people, instead of just having a gym here, come work out, for $30, $40 a month. We started doing higher ticket memberships, like $150 to $200, but we're tracking their progress. We're doing their nutrition.
So
we're
you
holding them
now.
Holding them accountable.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what separates us. But man, we signed up with that company, and we learned so much. They taught us sales. So the way it worked is they'd run these ads, and we would get leads, and we have all these systems in place where someone clicks our ad, I literally get a text to my phone. That second, I call that person, that lead. I have like a certain, thing that I say, and I book an appointment with them. Okay, so I put them on my calendar for appointment, and then we have to nurture that lead, right? So via text message. So there's this whole process that I learned of like, getting people to click your ads, and then it's a whole nother thing from click their ads to get them in the actual door. And then once you get them in the door, you have to actually sell them, right? And that's the hard part. So, and I used to be nervous when I saw someone walking up to my gym like they were going to come in, you know what I mean, just to talk to them, you know what I mean? And so it was hard to like break out of my shell and learn how to do those sales, because sales is like this whole journey that you're going through with this person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when they're coming in like, to get in shape, and they've struggled with, being overweight their whole life, or they've tried all these different things and none of it worked, and they're depressed, or I have people come in for consultations all the time, and I had a lady cry yesterday. But I learned the value of sales, because what actually has made my gym successful now, we have the same facility. It's the words that come out of my mouth, mine and Sean's mouths, you know what I mean, that make people want to join our gym, which just blew my mind, because I'm like, oh, I've had the facility this whole time. But I wasn't saying, it's the words that come out of my mouth that make this all work. And that just blew my mind.
Yeah. And when you think about what you're doing, I mean, let's say it's someone that struggled with, obesity their whole life, or, whatever, and maybe they've been picked on and those things, and they're coming in there and they're looking for you to literally change their world. It can't be more powerful than that.
No.
And it's great to, it is amazing to hear that, just exactly what you said. We haven't changed anything. We got the same facility. We've got equipment. We've got all this stuff. And the real difference was how you engaged with the person that was in there looking to sort of make a change. And so so now you're going into 2019, you realize, hey, we've got to understand business better. You get a coach. Like,
yep.
I encourage everyone to get a coach in anything they're doing that they want to be good at or they find worthwhile.
Me too now.
Find a coach. Can you imagine trying to learn jiu-jitsu without a coach?
Oh my God.
You couldn't.
No.
I mean, you could watch Facebook videos and you're going to learn
Kimura.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to learn, and not the details behind that stuff, right? So yeah, a good coach is invaluable, and a good mentor is even more important.
Changed our lives,
Yeah, for sure. So then 2020 rolls around. March of 2020, hey, we got to shut gyms down. What the fuck? Dude?
Well, before that, so we did this whole thing, right? And we saw some success. We literally probably doubled what the gym was making.
Yeah.
And but then something happened. Facebook changed their algorithm, I believe. And all of a sudden the ads stopped working. Okay? Now, we should have stuck with that company.
This still in 2019?
Yes. We should have stuck with that company, but we chose not to because it was expensive. You know what I mean? And so that happened. So we continue doing our group training program, trying to get members, trying to improve it and all that, but not working with the company anymore. But we do have these new set of skills that we learned. And then 2020 hits, COVID hits, the scamdemic.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And so, hey, and it's as you're saying, you opened your gym in March. It was about March when they said gyms need to shut.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was no option. Like, that's just what's happening.
No.
So what'd you do?
Well, granted, we live in Texas. Okay.
That's fair.
Texas, and we live in like Conroe, Texas, of all places.
We live in Texas and in Montgomery County.
Yes, exactly. Which I heard was like the least vaccinated county or something in the state.
And as it turns out, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where you're like, it was interesting, watching, all of this unfold, and it was, Harris County was locked down like it was New York, and then Montgomery County was like, yeah, we're not doing that up here.
Yeah.
You know, but still, there was a period of time where had to be a period of time of true fear and uncertainty.
Well, when it first
especially
came
as a
out,
gym owner.
right? When it first happened, we didn't really know. I kind of knew, but I wasn't for sure that it was all bullshit. So, you know, we were a little cautious. So when they forced everyone to shut down, we were like, fuck.
Well, you're like I am. Generally speaking, anything new that shows up, I'm like, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to speak that thing out of
Well,
existence.
when
like,
I was
it's
seeing the
not real.
Facebook videos of like people in China like convulsing and stuff, with like it was making its way to us, you know, I was already calling it out for bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's terrified though, right? Like, shit, we got to shut the gym down.
Yeah, dude, it was terrifying, and I wasn't supposed to be for like 4 weeks or something.
It was 15.
Ended up being like 8 weeks. Ended up being like 2 months.
Yeah, it was too many.
Yeah.
weeks.
So what we did close down, and all the gyms closed down, jiu-jitsu schools, everything, and we lost about a quarter of our income, like right off the bat. You know, people just canceled. We probably lost like, I don't know how many members, probably 50 at least. But we opened back up at 4 weeks in. We were like, okay, you know what I mean? We're not closing down forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not doing this. So we opened up in 4 weeks, which was pretty quick. I was embarrassed that we even shut down. But anyways, luckily, so we're I knew every member that I had personally up until like 200 members, right?
Mm-hmm.
People didn't come to our gym because it was nice or a cool gym or it had the best equipment, because it didn't. They came for us because they had a personal relationship with the owners, and we helped everyone, you know, freely. And by the way, I didn't mention when we opened our gym, it was complete shit, dude. We had at-home treadmills that you couldn't even run on. We had like the crappiest dumbbells you've ever seen. We were missing a few.
You just had a bunch of heavy shit.
We had no squat rack, no cable machine. We just had
wow.
a bunch of machines and a shitty set of dumbbells. And we, piece by piece, we finally got a squat rack. Then we got another squat rack. Got a couple more bars. We've had other gyms, you know, come into the area, and like, it's kind of funny, but like we've had other gym owners kind of like talk shit about us and stuff on social media and all that. And
that means you're doing something right.
And we've seen them come and go.
Yeah.
You know,
that means you're doing something right. Because if they truly believed you weren't shit, they wouldn't even address you.
Yeah. Yeah. We had other gym owners leaving bad reviews on our Facebook or on Google reviews. And so we've seen a lot of other gyms come and go. We've actually bought their equipment when they closed. But that had
to feel good.
It still feels good.
Yeah. That has to feel amazing. Be like, oh,
yeah, we had these two guys that opened a gym called Iron Church a couple miles away, and they actually came in our gym and like
That's a dorky name.
Worked out. I know, they worked out at our gym like right before they opened it. I guess they were kind of scoping us out, and they were weighing our 45-pound plates on a scale, and they were complaining that they weren't calibrated. I was like 45 and a quarter or something.
Just lift heavy things, man.
Yeah. And what's funny is we have all their plates now, and they're all calibrated.
That's
so
awesome.
Thanks, guys. But
appreciate that.
Yeah. So you know, we just slowly one machine at a time, one treadmill at a time. You just slowly built it up into what was looked like something I wasn't even proud of to show. To now, you walk in my gym and I'm like, wow, this is a legit gym. Yeah. You know. But what was your question?
We opened back up 4 weeks in to the thing, and like you said, you were embarrassed to even have to shut down. But you know, everyone was trying to do their part in the beginning, because like you said, I was the same way. I had my suspicions, like this is probably just nothing. And I remember having a friend of mine reach out. There was another safety rep at a company, and he said, "What do you think this is real?" And I was like, I'm reserving judgment at the moment. I don't know exactly, but there's something doesn't feel quite real enough about this for me to worry so much about it. But everybody at that point was trying to do their part. And you realize quick, hey, 4 weeks in, man, this is a bunch of shit. We're going to open back up.
Yeah.
You've lost a bunch of your membership, like you said. But did you see people starting to come back in and they were happy to just have a place to go?
We did, man. We opened back up, and first we did it kind of quietly, but people were like so grateful that we were, even because it was still against the rules. You know, we weren't supposed. We could have gotten in trouble supposedly and all this kind of stuff. People were so grateful that you know we did that, and like I was saying, we grew organically. So for the first few years, we did no marketing, hardly, just
Sure.
like Facebook posts. So we literally grew organically. That's why I knew all of my members, and so we have a great community. What's crazy about my gym is that, so I come from a jiu-jitsu background, right? And jiu-jitsu is all about community.
Very much so.
So I've never seen like a weightlifting gym, you know what I mean, or a fitness gym with that. But we created that in our gym. We had a community, a close-knit community. And so when we opened back up, we got an influx of members, for one, because we were the only gym open. And then two, we had a lot of people just calling in and being like, hey, turn me back on, or don't cancel my membership because I want to support you guys. Y'all are, you know, a small, you know, mom and pop style
A local gym.
Yeah, local business.
Yeah.
So, dude, we had so much support. We recovered what we lost within a month or two of closing. So it really didn't affect us at all.
That's great. I remember when that all happened and the jiu-jitsu gym had to close down.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I were talking, and he was like, I think we'll just like offer, like, he and I were going to try to meet up and like record some technique or whatever to try to put out for people. And he's like, I just want people to feel like they can get something and not drop their memberships. And same deal though, like you talk about community. I don't know that the gym lost a tremendous amount of people. I think we all stayed. I know I kept paying and never even considered, like, you know, because I was the same way. I looked at it like this is my family in a way, and it's a local business. I know these people. I know who they are.
You know, if you don't pay, that it could go away and you won't have it anymore.
That's right. And on a selfish level, you're like, I don't want to train anywhere else. I like this place. So that's great that you were able to see that, and that had to feel good to know that you had those people. You know, those people had your back.
It did, honestly, because I was real scared. You know what I mean? That
I bet
we might lose the whole thing, and it was kind of looking like that at first. But I don't know if it was God or what, bro. But you know, it was like immediate. It's like they filled back up immediately.
It definitely was God, and it's also just Texas, because I think that Texas, and especially, we very much are. We're contrarian by nature, but also, you know, at that time there wasn't really a lot of places you could go. So if a place was allowing it,
we had people coming from like an hour away, longer, just to do
something. Man, it's such a. I mean, we could spend hours and hours talking about all of the effects that is going to have on society for a long time. But it's great to see that that you were able to, you know, like I said, see that support from people. And so that you get through 2020, everything's kind of back up and running, and things are going good, huh?
Yeah.
Gym's going good, growing.
It was growing slowly. So we kind of became stagnant again. We would see with the gym business, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, because people are always canceling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the first thing when you're in a financial bind you get rid of, the gym membership. You know what I mean? And then we run off of like credit debit card system, right? So how often do people's cards get hacked? You know what I mean?
All the time. Yeah.
All the time. And then
that happened to me with our jiu-jitsu gym, because I do just direct draft off of my bank card, and it got hacked, so I replaced it.
And you don't think about
you try to get all of the things, but then you inevitably you miss some.
Happens to me
too. Same deal.
Yeah. So it's hard to you know, it's a grind in the gym business. If it's not the most lucrative business that you could get into. You have to love it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But man, so we kind of got a little stagnant. We would slowly grow. We did grow, you know what I mean? But it was very slow over like another 2 years. And so finally we just decided it's time to put up or get out. You know what I mean? So we signed back up with that same company. And
From back when
yes.
the algorithms or whatever changed.
Yeah.
You said, hey, this is expensive. We're not realizing
they took a
anything
hit,
out
but
of
they
it.
figured it out, and they they pushed through, which we should have stuck with them because they're the ones testing things, figuring, you know what I mean? So we would have
they're doing all the SEO stuff,
right,
and you don't have to mess with it.
Right. We should have stayed with them, and we would have climbed out of that hole instead of leaving because it wasn't working temporarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so
lesson learned though.
Yeah, it did. Yes, for sure, dude. And so we signed back up with them, and now we have more experience. We've already kind of done the sales, so we have an idea of what it's like. We've got better equipment, better trainers, better systems. So the second time, it really just popped off, man. So we essentially doubled our income again.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and in like 3 months, it was crazy, and so it's been interesting. It's kind of crazy to see. It's crazy to look at it after going for 8 years, not making money, paying money to keep it open, wondering what the hell I'm doing. I'm sure me never being home and probably had a role in my relationship not working out all the time.
Oh well, 100% it did
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's taught me a lot because it's just taught me that, like I was telling you earlier, if you just don't stop, no matter what, like you can't fail if you never quit trying, literally.
Right. That's right.
That's
right.
And so now now I've got probably over 350 members. A lot of those members are like the high ticket members where we do the, we call it fitness, accountability, and nutrition. So we go as far as like, we do a 6-week challenge, okay, for everyone who signs up and starts. And we kind of like skyrocket people into the results. So we give them a meal plan we have an in-house nutritionist. We give them a meal plan. We give them, assign them accountability coaches. So we literally will like text people on a Friday night, and for the first 6 weeks we do this, and we're like, hey, what's for dinner tonight? Send me a picture.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, it is, but dude, that's why we have the success rate.
I would send you a
do.
picture of the worst shit you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, well, some people do that and they stay fat.
Hey man, you just said I wasn't.
You're not.
Well, so that's great. So you go back with the coaches, it jumps off, and you're growing. So now what? When do you open a new location?
To be honest with you, I don't necessarily right now want to open a new location. I want to make what we have, I think what we want to make what we have, just a monster, So right now we have like 7,500 square foot facility. We got 2,000 foot of turf, and but I think our next step, which we're not quite there, but we're getting there, is we want to either like build or buy our own place, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like something like 10, 15, 20,000 square feet, right? And then have all the amenities, have the gym, have the training, but also have we like to do saunas. We'd like to do ice baths for like contrast therapy. You've probably never seen that in a gym.
Ice baths are terrible.
They are. I hate them. But stem rooms, like with the muscle thing. So I really just want to grow what we have into a beast. You know what I mean?
I think that's smart.
I don't want to start another gym after what I just went through. Like now I know the recipe.
Right.
But after what we've been going through, I have no desire.
I think that's smart. I mean, you see a lot of times that you see this more with restaurants. I think that they'll have a location that's very successful. They'll open another location, and then both of them shut down. Yeah. Because they were borrowing from this location's success to try to fund this one, and it just ruins both. I think it's smart to just continue to build what you have. And do you ever see a point where you're so Like, it's successful enough where that's just what you do. Is that what you want to get to, or is that something that you say, man, I just kind of want to keep doing what I'm doing?
It is where I want to get to. To be honest with you, this sounds stupid, but I like having a job. I like working. I like being forced to have the structure. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty driven and disciplined guy, but like I tend to slack off when I'm not forced to have the structure. That being said, I'm not going to keep working forever. But, you know, to be honest with you, we're pretty close now. Like I could probably quit now and I would get by, but, I'm not quite ready. I want to wait until, you know, we're doing,
double it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep doubling it.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, man, the name of the gym is
P.A. Fitness.
P.A. Fitness in Conroe, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So where can they find information, listeners find information about that?
You can just Google us. You know, we're on Facebook, Instagram. You can Google us, go to our website. Yeah, we're on all the social media platforms. There's no issues.
Be warned, if you go there, he's going to text you and ask you to send pictures of food.
Well, we only do that for our group training programs, but that's how we get people the results that we do. You know, we as a small mom and pops type gym competing against, you know, franchises like Gold's and all that kind of stuff, we have to over deliver, and we do, and that's what sets us apart. I mean, you know, we go overboard.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. It's been awesome to kind of get to hear your story, and then we're going to leave here. We're going to go train jiu-jitsu tonight, and I'm going to do my best to survive it. But thanks so much, Seth, and if there's anything I can do for you, man, let me know.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.